What's up and welcome guys to One Oak Mentoring, the number one virtual teen mentoring commodity service program in the entire galaxy. Just think about what a galaxy is, right? How y'all guys doing today, man? Today is Saturday. It's a pretty beautiful day, man. It's about to be hot, so of course. But today, I'm gonna tell y'all guys what I did at work yesterday. I was gonna do it as soon as I got back and then post it, but yeah, here it is. So, all right, so I'm heading into work. I'm almost at work, and which I keep telling y'all, I will kind of detail, like I will break down and detail the structure of the company, that I work for. So I'm riding to work, and when I'm about to turn to the right to the campus that I clock in on, I look to the left and there's like a basketball court out there. And so there's like 3 people out there. I really couldn't tell if they were staff, kids, or whatever, but I mean, they just looked like they were just on the basketball court. So I kind of glanced. They're like, okay, all right. So pull in. I go clock in, start getting things together, start looking for the paperwork, and things like that for this transport. And there's a therapist there. She might have came in maybe like 5 minutes later. No, she didn't come in. I went out to my car or something, man. She was like, is the staff support over? And I'm like, staff support? And I know y'all like, what is a staff support? I'll have a whole video on what a staff support is exactly, but it's kind of like when they call on the intercom and they let you know there's some type of problem. Now, that problem can be anywhere from a kid just walking out of staff supervision, or that could actually be like another kid just like, beating the crap out of somebody, beating the crap out of a kid or something, or just a fight or something, or sometimes just a little aggression, all right? But I'll get back to all that. So she said there's a staff support, right? So I'm like, but I'm actually kind of thinking like, if there's a staff support, like, why aren't you there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but anyway, so I walk across the street and, then I'm started thinking, when I seen those people to the left when I was driving in, like that was the staff support, right? But I'm guessing the staff support may have been called before I got to work because I didn't hear it or know anything about it. So I'm like, oh God, I got to deal with this, man. Just joking, man. But I mean, sometimes staff supports can be stressful, but it's part of the job. So I went over there, kind of try to see what was going on. And it was like this kid and these 2 other staff, and I guess they're trying to talk to him like, hey, blah, 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 are you okay? This. I didn't even know what's going on. I didn't even ask, and I didn't even really get too close to him, because when you are a seasoned veteran like myself, you kind of know, when it's a staff support, you don't want to, unless you have a certain type of bond with that kid, like you don't want to make them feel like surrounded or like enclosed. So like, I didn't want to just like come right up on the kid and be like, just standing there, with a crazy look like I normally have on my face. I guess people say that. So I kind of I was like a distance back, I'm just standing there for support. The other people are talking to him. I'm just there for support, verbal support, or in case, things get physical, I can, prevent, or, we'll get into the restraints and all that kind of stuff later on, right? So, they're talking to him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of like, hey, man, which I'm not a full-time employee, but I work full-time hours from time to time. I kind of make my own schedule, so I'm PRN. So I don't see all the kids all the time. I'm not around the kids all the time. So I really didn't have the best bond with this kid. And I'm not saying that we had anything against each other, but I just wasn't around the kid like that. We really didn't have that bond. And this kid done a lot of rowdy stuff as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff that happens when I'm not there. So I know his reputation. So, I'm like, hey, man, what's going on, man? You pissed off? Now, I probably shouldn't have used the term pissed off according to a policy. But, I mean, it's not the worst thing to say. I mean, sometimes you want to show these kids that you can relate to them, man. So, that's kind of why I did it. It's a psychological thing that I do that a lot of people can't grasp if they haven't been doing this as long as me. So I'm like, what's wrong, man? You pissed off? And he I was actually like expecting him to be like, not even respond to me, or just be like, man, don't talk to me or something. Just because I don't have that rapport and, whatever. And, he's had a history of being aggressive and things like that. So I'm like, yo, What's going on? You pissed off, man? He was like, yeah. I didn't even ask him what he was pissed off about. I just told him, hey, the best thing to do, man, is just to comply. The more you comply, man, you can get home. I was like, do the right thing. I know you can do the right thing. Make smart decisions. And he was just like, okay. He was, just agreeing. He didn't really look too upset or anything. Maybe just attention seeking, or maybe just, I don't know. He could have been upset about something, right? But my main thing today is to get to this transport, right? So although it's technically a staff support, it's 2 staff already there, and the kid, he didn't look aggressive, man. But me, I got to get ready for this transport, man, right? So, man, guess what, man? I look at the schedule, because I can pull the schedule up on my phone or whatever. I know that whole concept might sound like weird to some people. Were like, the place I work is like a totally unorthodox type place, which is, I'm an unorthodox person. So, which is kind of like why I like, to work there. So I can pull the schedule up on my phone and, see who's there, what's going on, which I'll get into all that specifically. But then I'm looking, and then I was thinking now I have a problem with being late to work, don't we all, right? But, I'm normally like 15, 20 minutes late, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this stuff, but like constantly, right? So I look at my phone, and I'm like, hold up. I wasn't supposed to be here till 9:30. And I'm looking at my phone, it's 9:21. Do you know how disappointed and accomplished I felt at the same time? I'm disappointed because I'm like, hey, I didn't even have to be here, and I'm a part of this staff support. Like, I'm technically not even supposed to be here. But at the same time, I'm like, I got to work early, like, I guess. Yeah. But so the staff seemed like they had control of the situation, so I just had to come back across the street, start getting things together, like getting the keys or whatever. And so 2 staff that were supposed to be going with me, they came eventually. And so, like, we getting the paperwork for the kids, and then, we load into the van. And now this is a special kind of transport today. So I'm going to be taking a staff and a resident to one location, dropping them off, and getting back in the van with another staff and another resident, taking them to another place, dropping them off, and then come back and pick the first set of group up, and then go back and pick the second group up, right? Very complicated, right? So they entrusted this mission to me because I'm such an expert, right? So I can do it, man. I've been doing this I've been doing this for over 10 years, man. So it's nothing to me, right? Okay, yeah. So we're riding. It's pretty good, vibe, or whatever. The kid that was sitting in front with me, he was just kind of just chilling, which he was the kid from the video before, the one I was telling you that was kind of rambunctious when they were in line and stuff like that. But that was him. So if you see that video, the video before this is the kid that went on transport. So I think he had to go to. I'll get to that. So the first place we go and drop a staff and resident off. I think he had like physical therapy or something like that. And so we dropped them off, cool. And then I got back in the of course I got back in the bus, and then we went and dropped another resident off and a staff at like a mental health kind of place. I guess they try to scan and see what degree of psycho you are, or something like that, man. I really don't. I've never been back there, but all the kids, they have to go there. Like, it's like a mental health place. I think it's part of like the procedure or evaluation for a kid that has to be there or whatever, or something like that. So so I dropped him off, and then I'm like, hey man, now I got this bus all to myself, man. I think I'm gonna go to the mall, man. I think I'm gonna go visit some people, just hang out, man. Nah, I'm just joking, man. So but I did have a little bit of free time while I was doing that, man. So I did go by like the store. Just went in the store. I got something. I don't even know what I got or whatever. But I just decided, like, I had a lot of time to just ride around, but I just decided to drive back to the first transport and just wait, for them to get out. And so they eventually get out, and on the ride back we have the kid that was in the front seat before, like now he's in the back, and the other kid's in the front seat. So I have more of a rapport with this kid. He's not too bad of a kid, just a teenager. Very rambunctious, stuff like that, right? So so he's in a, and he's one of these kids that, they talk and they just like, curse, I don't think at certain times, I don't think he means to really curse like the way he does. But then sometimes it's like excessive, like, you know what I mean? I can get, if you're talking and it slips like or something, but if you're like, yeah, man, F this, F that, you know what I'm saying, S this, and I'm like, hey, man, yo, man, you got to chill out with the language. He'll like, oh, my bad, Mr. Sean, man, this. And, if something slips, I don't have to check it all the time. Like, you don't want to be this counselor that's like checking every little thing. Oh, man, you said that. Hey, you're a human. You're a human being, but you're still a counselor, right? So when the cursing gets excessive, like, hey, man, you got to chill out with that, man. Your language is, come on, man, you know better than that, and he complied. So, cool. And, but for the most part, he was just talking about, what he regularly talks about, like stuff that happens at the group home and this, and that. But I think this day, maybe he had a parole meeting or one of his parole officers was supposed to be meeting with him. And another staff that was with us was like, the director person was asking how long it's going to take to get back, because he had some kind of meeting or whatever. And then you can just see the change in his demeanor. Like, first he was just like, listen to the music, nodding his head, talking, yeah, F this, S that, with the H, stuff like that. But then when the staff start telling him, about he has to go to the administration office, when he gets back, he was kind of got like, a little like, it's kind of like start sitting kind of like rocking a little bit. And he was like, oh man, I know I'm going to jail. I know it's bad. I know I'm going to jail, man. I just know it, man. And then he got to just like bouncing his knee and he was like, man, I know I'm going to jail, man. I just know it. And then I'm like, hey, like, sometimes you just got to have real conversations with these kids. And I'm like, look, man. Now, I didn't say it in a stern voice, but I said it in a serious tone. And I'm like, look, man, all the stuff you've been getting into, these past weeks, these past months and stuff like that. I was like, man, if you comply and you're doing what you're supposed to do, man, when things like this happen, when your PO comes, you don't have to be nervous about anything. And he was like, yeah, you're right, man. You're right. And I was like, man, the thing I'm trying to tell you is right now, it's too late to be nervous, right? Because you've already done what you did, right? So what I need you to do is to remember how you feel right now, how anxious and nervous and, afraid you might be right now. Remember this feeling, right? So if you do get to go back to your house, remember how you felt and remember why you felt that way. You felt that way because you wasn't behaving and you wasn't, being productive enough, right? So if you're doing that, you don't have to worry when your PO comes by. You don't have to worry about things like that. And he was like, yeah, you're right, man. You're right. But I can just really tell he's just really nervous. And, this is the part where I love about my job, these opportunities and stuff like this, right? Kids nervous, shaking his knee. And I'm just telling him, hey, what you need to do right now, just relax, man. Don't worry about it, man. Stop thinking that you're going to go back to jail. All you need to do is use this as, a learning, like a learning experience, right? Use this. Remember this feeling, how you feeling, man. And then I told him, hey, you're going to be all right, man. You'll be okay, but you need to do better. You need to get better. You need to comply. The main thing to this group home is complying, okay? And you can get home quick, right? And, he's still just kind of nervous. He was like, okay, yeah. All right, I understand. And I was like, man, you're going to be okay, but you need to change your ways, man. You got to do better, man. All right? And so, man, that's kind of like one of the things I like about my job because it's like, I got a chance to kind of like, assist this kid, speak some life into him. I'm not just going to just put this whole negativity thing on him. See, you shouldn't have been doing that. Now you might go to jail. See, I've been telling you, you've been acting bad. You getting what you deserve. If you go to jail, you getting what you deserve. Like, that's not how I come off on these kids because I know how it is to be young and, naive, mature, doing things, thinking you know everything, but you don't know nothing, right? Okay. So, so I dropped him off. So we got back to the campus. One staff, took him to the admin building and, I hope, I wish the best for him, you know what I mean? And so the kid, that was wilding out the day before. I was about to go drop him off at school. Well, no, I parked the bus and then I walked him down to the school. Now, school is like a hallway, which I told y'all, I'll talk to y'all about all that. And then I'm telling him like, hey man, what was up with that stuff from yesterday, right? Because sometimes I counsel different, because sometimes the message can be received better if it's like, you know, me and you talking, as opposed to like me trying to talk to you in front of a group of people, like AKA calling you out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to call anybody out, you know what I mean, to get my point across. I just want you to know that my point is genuine. Like, when I say something to you, it's genuine. I'm not trying to be your father. I'm not trying to just aggressively show you that, you know, I'm the authority figure, you know, which I am, but I still respect you, right? So I'm not going to treat you like a kid, but I'm not going to treat you like my peer or anything like that, right? So I'm telling him, like, what was up with that, man? You know, I was like, man, you was wilding out, you know. I know how to relate and talk to these kids. So by me saying wilding out, he knows what I mean. Like, some people might be like, what do you mean by wilding out? Misbehaving, okay? All right. So when I say that, he's like, man, and then, you know, I'm still going. I tell you, know, saying, hey, man, you always talk about you want to get home. You want to get home quick, right? Comply, man. All you got to do is do what these people ask you. Whether you like it or not, just comply, man. This is not about your emotions. Things can always be worse. Just come here, do what you got to do, man, and leave, man, and be productive, man. And he kind of paused for like a few seconds. He was like, man, you right, man. You right. Now, that's the joy that I get from my job. If he does, I mean, I can't control if he does anything or not, but I mean, just the fact that I'm just like speaking to these kids, somebody who they can kind of see as like a role model or somebody to look up to. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn like, oh, I'm a role model. Like, but I do know that I can relate to these kids, and kids, they bond with me. They relate to me because even though I am older, you know, I have like a younger aura. Like, you know, I got my, you know, my dreads, you know, with what hair I have, you know what I mean? I keep it nice. You know, I kind of dress young, things like that. I kind of listen to the music, know the slang, stuff like that. So that's how I can kind of relate to these kids. But yeah, man, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's how my day went yesterday. Today I'm off work. They actually asked me to come in and work, but I don't know, man. I was kind of being like lazy today. But I'm gonna start working more, just so I can start putting out more of these videos. But I'm gonna definitely stay on top of it. This is One Oak, man. Y'all guys have a beautiful day and take care of yourselves, man. And as always, I am out.